incredible broadcast by a young African American known as Ishowspeed. What moved me the most in the broadcast from Kenya was the embodiment of culture of Kenya, and indeed diversity of hospitality cultures that we see around the African continent. I've only visited briefly Rwanda, Tanzania, Kenya back in the 1990s, and more recently in 2018 on transit. I had a little bit of a glimpse into Kenya when the immigration officer from Kenya actually believed I was Kenyan. He asked me a couple of times, asking where I was from. Of course, this was before I started my own family history research. And indeed, I was completely unaware that indeed I had families that came from beyond the borders of Burundi, where I was born. My father's mother fled from Tanzania into Burundi, and my father's paternal line were in fact some of the founders of the kingdom of Burundi. If you check closely, compare that with archaeology, it is very, very evident that our journey started in Tanzania. And this is actually what has led me to believe that Tanzania holds a lot of clues when it comes to the start of humans as we know it. And that, I think, represents a future and a vision for all Africans, and indeed the descendants of the motherland continent, to closely study the history of Tanzania, pre-Tanzania even, to build a greater future. I don't believe that we've done enough to promote our own history to the global audience, particularly to those whose ancestors were taken from our land. What we have to do is to figure out a better way of writing new chapters. And when I look at all the families that are mapped out in DNA testing, it is so moving that me watching Ishowspeed touring Africa really gives me more motivation about the things that I've been talking about for the last few years through my channel, Journeys of the Ancestors. Journeys of the Ancestors, main inspiration was to really connect people, for people to know about the diaspora, aspirations and their own journeys and history, and try and see whether we can find an environment where they can interact, they can collaborate, and build things together for the future. Today, Facebook reminded me about a post that I shared a few years ago, and this post sort of fascinated me, because if you look at the language, people are united through language, as scientists often say. The fact that the Burundi people have been grouped to have the same Bunyoro Buganda language shows that indeed we are from the same community. And it's also important to note that in terms of language, Tanzania has a variety of languages that have not been studied enough. And therefore, I think it's important that we organize some sort of conference and also festival for people to, meet and learn about all of this diversity and rich culture. Me personally, it took me more than 6 years for me to map out, my heritage and to understand really, how my ancestors lived and how they interacted with other communities. It's been a great experience because I'm already a very passionate person in terms of history, and I've always loved to talk history since I was very, very young. So me finding out all of this rich history sort of gives me more passion for research and sharing and teaching. I remember in 2003, I was working for a travel agency. We only focused on a travel to the Channel Island, helping families, solo travelers to find a spot where they can visit. And years after, I was trained at the Frontline Club, a club of journalists, on the use of media to promote food and travel. I was trained by one of Britain's best journalists who formerly used to report in conflict zones that included Iraq. So when I discovered how you can use media to channel messages, of course, I started in human rights, then slowly moved into travel and business promotion. On Google Guide, a local guide, my page has about 39 million views of photos that I share, some that I borrow from friends so that we can share about different locations of places to visit. I've never really visited enough East Africa, even if this is the region where my ancestors, started their journey. But I think it's really, really important that not only do we get the chance to visit the lands of our ancestors, but that we also understand what was the cultural heritage, what was the identity, what was their vision, how did they build nations. All of that can help us not to give up on who we are as a people and our aspirations as well for the future. I remember just when I completed my DNA test and joining a genealogy website, I was contacted by a grandchild of a Moroccan woman in northern Morocco. And he said that she had been looking for her family who are mixed Yemen and Ethiopian. And so for me to match this archaeological DNA sample from Morocco was absolutely mind-blowing. So it's important that that lost history is recollected, and I hope that the journeys of the ancestors can inspire people to connect, to innovate together, and to think of a future they want to leave as a legacy. I I've always enjoyed music. I was a DJ as a teenager, and this is how I picture ourselves every year, not just to meet to party or to celebrate, but also meet to exchange ideas on innovation, from energy to how we reform education to distribution of wealth, and also creating jobs for young people. But the future must be written by young people, for young people, because this is a continent that is the most youthful on the planet. And roadmap to 2050 has to include young people in policy making and innovation reforms. So last time I visited Tanzania was 1999. Last time I visited Kenya was 2018, when I was told by an immigration officer that I'm Kenyan. Last time I visited Ethiopia, a land of one branch of my ancestors, was in 2004. Last time I visited Rwanda was 2004. I think these are the places that I visited in East Africa. So I hope that when health permits, when my heart is able to pump normally, we can resume this travel. I still have a lot of unachieved projects, but yet I'm sitting on ideas, and I think I've served enough. I've worked for 2 decades for corporations. I've advised individuals, companies, governments. I think it's time for me to start building something for my little one, for her to take over in a few years to come, so that I can enjoy Africa. When I left Africa, I did not leave because I chose to leave Africa. I left because it was a decision made by my father, who reckoned that there was a risk of conflict going forward. But I was always sad for all these 2 decades. That's why I've always lobbied and campaigned for Africa, for the African continent, rather. But to physically return, I'm not sure where I'm going to live in Africa, but I know that when I return, it will not just be for relaxing or enjoying the beauty of the continent, but it will be for me to also empower the next generation, and equip them with the tools that is required for that great future, where the African continent will play a significant role